When a number of people saw her on Thursday night, all of the information that I've been getting today is that Whitney seemed to be in very good spirits, that she looked a bit disheveled, but not anything out of the ordinary, that she had a good time at the event that she was at on Thursday, and that she seemed to be doing okay. So no one really knows what's been going on. I mean, it's been well documented, her struggles with substance abuse. She seemed to have come back, trying to make that comeback. I think it will be very interesting what happens at Clive Davis's party tonight. I know Larry was just on talking about it because Clive was her mentor. He's the man who introduced her to America. So it's going to be very interesting what happens at that event tonight. And tomorrow on the Grammys, what they will do. I will be on the Grammy red carpet tomorrow, and I'm sure that it will be a very solemn event there. There were tributes that were planned during the show for Clarence Clemens. There was an Etta James tribute with Alicia Keys and Bonnie Raitt that was planned. And there was talk if there would be a Don Cornelius tribute, but you have to figure that with this news, the whole show will be shaken up and that something will have to be done there tomorrow night.
So listen, Nichelle, I got the word. I just finished the show. I got the word as I was going downstairs, and I ran up. So I don't have my glasses, and I don't have any. I didn't even have time to log into the computer. But if the audience will bear with me, I'm going to read some of the. I'm reading off my BlackBerry. Some of the tweets that are coming in. Soulja Boy is saying, R.I.P. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Russell Simmons, deeply saddened by the death of Whitney Houston. May she rest in peace. Mark Zuckerberg, rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Thank you for the amazing music you brought into the world. Ludacris is saying, R.I.P. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. One of the purest souls I've ever met in my life. Akon, we've lost another legend. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. I'm honored to have had the chance to work with such an amazing human being. Duran Duran saying, very sad to hear about Whitney Houston. Rest in peace. Carrie Hilson, please say this news about Whitney Houston all over my timeline is not true. A very sick joke. That's a question mark she's hoping. I can't take it, please. Goldie Hawn is saying, I'm very sad to hear of Whitney Houston passing. She was one of our great artists that has graced us all. May she rest in peace. And, you know, I have the same sentiment as well because much like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston had the soundtrack to my youth, at least my college years. And, Nichelle, you can appreciate it. We have so many people these days. Here's the thing. We have so many people who need auto-tune and who need computers and backup singers and dancers and whatever to make it in the music industry and to even sound halfway decent. And Whitney Houston could get up there and open her mouth and music would come out. She didn't need a piano. She didn't need a band. She didn't need anything. She could just open her mouth. And if there was any testament to that, do you remember her? She sang the Star Spangled Banner and turned it into a #1 hit. The girl had pipes. She was talent personified.
She was the voice and the soundtrack of so many of our lives.
Yeah. It's so sad when you know, people like her and Amy Winehouse. And Larry King mentioned, you know, a very similar instance when it comes to Judy Garland. And many times we find, and you guys know I'm not lying, the most talented ones are sometimes the most trouble. I think that genius sometimes, because people have such talent and are such geniuses, that they are tortured many times. And I think that may have been the case with Whitney Houston. She was so brilliant in her singing. And if you watched her, if you just watched her and you were a fan of talent, people who could actually sing, she would mesmerize you. Nichelle, do we know if the Sparkle remake that she was doing, they had finished shooting, right?
Yeah, the movie had finished shooting. I'm not sure if there was a release date yet, but the movie had finished shooting. I remember hearing Jordan Sparks talk about her experience shooting this movie with Whitney Houston, and she said Whitney was like a mother to her on the set of this movie, that Whitney surrounded her with love, encouraged her, supported her, and that she was very nervous because she was shooting a movie with the Whitney Houston, the voice, but that it was a great experience for her. And Whitney also talked about how good of an experience doing this movie was. This is her first movie since, I think, Waiting to Exhale. And she talked about how wonderful it was to be back on a movie set and to be doing another movie and singing in this movie.
I think it was The Preacher's Wife was Waiting to Exhale, and then The Preacher's Wife was in 1996.
Right,
yeah, and I said that Dionne Warwick was her cousin. I didn't mean that. It was not her aunt, but it was her cousin. But go on. That's a small little thing. Go ahead, Michelle.
I mean, he is close to Ray J.
All right. As I'm getting information now from my producers, I'm hearing that entertainment producer Alan Duke is on the line. Alan, you have more details about Whitney's death. What can you tell us?
Well, I just spoke with a close associate of Ray J, who has been seen on a number of occasions with Whitney in recent weeks around Los Angeles. This is coming from a close friend of Ray J, a Los Angeles hip-hop artist who goes by the name of the Original Young Buck, who I know to be close to Ray J. He told me just a few minutes ago that Ray J was with her and is the one who found her